What's up, everybody? This is Whisky in the Six. I'm Rob. Going live today with a Ardbeg 10-year-old review. That's this bad boy right over here. I'll keep that off to the side. We'll see if anybody comes in. I'm going to nose taste and give this a mark. And then I'll probably bring in a couple other things. So if you were a follower of my channel for a little while now, what's going on, Claire? If you're a follower of my channel, oh, thanks, man. It's actually just the other side of my kitchen. It's all one room. So, but thank you. Appreciate that. Jamie, what's going on? How are you? Donner, how are you? So Ardbeg 10-year-old was my number one Scotch in the 10-year-old category. My number two is sitting right beside me right here. And honestly, I like them both very, very, it's very, very close. The only reason why I gave the Ardbeg 10 the number one position is because consistently every year it's good. It's available all the time. Whereas the Glenallachie 10-year-old, the port cask, is a limited edition. So not going to be available for much longer. Maybe I'll keep this angle from now on. I think I like it a little bit better than the like the countertop behind me. It actually, the color is a little bit better as well. Hope you guys are doing well. Like I said, I'm going to nose this, taste it, give it a mark, and then I'm going to chat a little bit with you guys. So as you can see, a lighter color. This is the bottle right here. Okay, Ardbeg 10. All right, 46%. No surprises, just bourbon cask, unchill filtered, natural color. All right, it's got that traditional Ardbeg smell right off the hop with some ashy, like almost like a medicinal / asphalt kind of note. But then you get a beautiful pop of like lemon, which is awesome. It's like a creamy lemon too. It's like a vanilla custard lemon. Really nice. Obviously the iodine type medicinal notes are there as well. It's very, it's not heavily peated, I don't think. I wouldn't call this heavily peated, but it's definitely got some peat. Definitely more peat than, let's say, a Highland Park 12-year-old. A lot more peat than that. Probably a little bit more peat than a Talisker 10-year-old as well. But yeah, there are some fruity notes in here as well. I got a little bit of peach on that one as I turned it to the side there. Definitely get those lemon notes. And like I said, vanilla as well. On the palate, that's really nice. The asphalty medicinal note carries through to the palate, dissipates, and then that lemon pops in. Lemon, and then on the finish you get some peach, and it lingers for a little while, and then it turns into like like a bonfire type smoke on the back end. What's going on, guys? Thanks for popping by. This is our regular scheduled live time on Thursdays. Monday was just kind of a celebration. I usually have 3 dry days a week. And unfortunately, this week, I put that aside because I was dry for an entire month. I had some catching up to do with some bottles that were shared with me. So I had to do some tasting. I'm getting to my first official review since coming back from the dry month. Honestly, I highly recommend you guys do what I did with this dram today. So if you've got a bottle of Ardbeg 10, pour your glass and then let it sit for like a half hour. Honestly, this was sitting for a half hour. I poured it. I went to go do other things. I helped my wife put the kids to sleep, that sort of stuff. Came back to it now, and honestly, it's in its money zone. It's beautiful right now. You get that little bit of smoke, lots of lemon, lots of vanilla, a little bit of like a custardy type note. It's got a nice viscosity to it. Honestly, that's easily a 90 for me. I would even maybe push it as high as a 91. I do like this Glenallachie almost as much, and I'm going to pour some tonight as well, because this was the runner-up in my top 6 10-year-old whiskeys, 10-year-old Scotch to be precise. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that tonight as well. So a little bit of like a head-to-head, I guess you can say, but not really. Like I said, the Ardbeg 10 is my number 1 10-year-old Scotch whiskey. Year in, year out, just very consistent stuff. 46%, no added color, unchill filtered, and you're getting a great product. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some older whiskey in here as well. All right. Review portion is done. Let's see who's in the chat. So we got Claire the Third. What's going on, buddy? Donner Pass Whiskey, how are you? Jimmy Jazz. Kirk, what's going on, bud? Go Habs is in the house. 2 lives in 1 week. Are you on strike or something? Yes, but that's not why I did 2 lives. We're not full strike. We're doing intermittent, I guess you could say, strikes, or basically one day every 2 weeks, or 2 days every 2 weeks. It depends. So can't really talk about it much, but yeah, technically Ontario teachers are on and off with their striking. We got the Oak and Smoke Whiskey Reviews. What's going on, buddy? I checked out his channel recently. Very cool channel. A lot of cool channels popping up these days, guys. So check them out. Sipper Social Club in the house. My boy Jeremy says Ardbeg 10. Never heard of it. Yeah, it's one of those rare, but definitely ones you would want to seek out. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, Jeremy's tried this. I think he actually has an Ardbeg core range review. So if you want to check that out, he does the 10, the Ugadao, the Corey, and which else? I think the Ano. I think it was the 10, the Ano, the Oogie, and the Corey. We got Brian Page in the house. What's going on, bud? Said well priced in the US for $45 or so. Yeah. In Ontario, this is $100, which is still not horribly priced, but much better priced in other provinces and much better priced in the US at $45. You cannot go wrong. That's excellent stuff. We got West Jolly. What's going on, buddy? Go Habs is saying, what about the price? $98 at the SAQ. That's too expensive for a 10-year-old. Honestly, it's expensive. Yeah, $100 is expensive at the LCBO. Like I said, it's $100. SAQ, $98. So it's pretty expensive. It's not cheap, but it's well priced in other provinces, well priced in other states. So in the States anyway. So honestly, that's kind of a tax issue between the SAQ and the LCBO, but still worth that money in my opinion. I want to say it's Jeromeo, Diner on 50 guy here. What's going on, buddy? Honestly, the Diner on 50 is excellent stuff. I really like. It's like a Greek fast food joint. Really, really good stuff. Next time, say hello. Peter White in the house. What's going on? He says the LCBO outpriced this for me. Yeah, $100 is expensive. It's not cheap. When you compare it to what you can get for $100, that's readily available, that's a different story. I don't know if there's too much better. Brian Page says, your reviews have saved me lots of money. Thanks for great content. Thank you very much, Brian Page, for the super chat. I really appreciate it, buddy. Cheers, man. HS43527 Singh Says in Calgary, it's around $69. Yeah, that's honestly, that's a great price. $69 Canadian is an excellent price for this. I would pay that any day. I would also pay $100 Canadian just because this is one of those ones where you want to have on your bar. It's a well-rounded peated Scotch, in my opinion. Richard, what's going on, buddy? He says, I have the 10, I think. Richard, it would be easy for you to forget what you have because you have some beautiful, beautiful whiskey at home. Thanks for joining in, Richard. Appreciate it, buddy. Robin, what's going on? Says, cheers, brother. About to watch The Joker, so I must leave. He said, love me some Ardbeg, though. Either he meant leave me or love me some Ardbeg. Either way, I think that works. Yeah, Claire is saying $49 US there. That's a great price. That's an excellent price. And this is excellent stuff, honestly. I think I paid the same, but in Alberta, when buying from Alberta was still an option for this Glenallachie port. Love that stuff. Good stuff. I don't buy Ardbeg or Balvenie in Ontario. Yeah, honestly, if you have the option of buying Balvenie and Ardbeg in particular in other states or in the States, in other provinces, I highly recommend you do that because it's way better priced pretty much everywhere else. Like Balvenie is another example of something that's almost half price in other provinces, which I'm not sure what the issue is with the taxing with these two products, but it seems to be pretty expensive when it comes to Ontario and for the most part SAQ as well. I remember Balvenie 17-year-old being at least $300 here, and in Alberta it was half the price. So yeah. Chad Adams, what's going on, buddy? What are you guys drinking tonight? Ardbeg 10 is the whiskey that you want to have on your bar if you're going to have a peated night. You're going to have a peated whiskey kind of flight, and you want to start with Ardbeg 10 because that's going to get you in the zone and it's not going to overwhelm your palate. Tales from last night. What's going on? He's drinking Lafroig 10-year-old. How's it going, buddy? So Lafroig 10-year-old is an interesting comparison to this 10-year-old, the Ardbeg 10-year-old, because it's 43%. I think it might be a little bit heavier peated, and it does taste a bit thinner in my opinion. That's my opinion, of course. I think that this one has a little bit more of a vanilla cream type note, lemon, custardy type note as well. So I prefer the Ardbeg 10 to the Lafroig 10. The Oak and Smoke Whiskey is saying Scotches went up in price in the U.S. all around due to tariffs. Yeah. I got nailed because I bought a bottle of Longrow 21 from the UK, sent it to a cousin in New York before the tariff was supposed to hit, and I got charged with the tariff anyway. And yeah, that extra 25% made it not worth it anymore. So I won't be buying from the UK and shipping to the US any longer. P-Boss in the house. What's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. The Oak and Smoke is drinking Longmorn 16. Go Habs is drinking Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye. Brian Page is drinking the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. He's saying the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is another example of horrible pricing here. I've been drinking some of the JDBP. Honestly, I didn't get a chance to buy a bottle of the JDBP, but we had it at a phenomenal price. We had it at $70 Canadian. I believe when I was looking in the US, when it hadn't hit Canada yet, it was $70 American. And that was like 3 years ago. So that's a great price for Canada, in my opinion. I think that's honestly really, really well priced. Donner passed his drink. He had Tamdu 19 and Ben Nevis 18. Wow, very nice. Was the Tamdu 19 an original bottling? Like, was that a single cask? Because if that was, that's probably astronomical in price. Peter White is saying he'll try the Glenallachie 10 port. Still have some left. Yeah, honestly, I really like that stuff. I think it's a great port expression. I'm just nosing it right now because I'm still working on the Ardbeg over here. Go have saying only deals in Quebec are Abana at $100 and Glendronach 21 at $200. Yeah, we have the same price for the Abalur. Very good price, I think. Most places have it for at least $130 to $140. So, yeah. Jesse, what's going on? Saying hello. Curious what Jeremy and Paulo are drinking tonight. Both of those guys have some sneaky great. Well, Jeremy not so sneaky, but Paulo has a sneaky great collection. So I'm curious what those two guys are drinking. Both are indie bottles, refill bourbon hogshead. Nice. Very cool, Donner. Jeromeo is saying, what's a lighter, more entry-level Isla for beginners? I would say Kalila. There's some Kalila 12-year-olds still kicking around in various stores in Brampton. That's a little lighter on the peat than the Lafroig or the Ardbeg. I would say if you don't want peat but you want to experience like an Isla brine, go with the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old because it's not peated at all, but you get some of the characteristics from an Isla that you would from these without the peat, which is kind of cool. So that's a good one to start with. Bunnahabhain 12, an awesome whiskey. But if you want some introduction to peat, I would say start with maybe a Talisker 10 or a Highland Park 10. Yeah, Nick Keane is saying Gordon MacPhail, Kalila 13. That's fantastic stuff, in my opinion. Yeah, so if you're just joining, this Ardbeg 10 is definitely a 90 for me. Just easy drinking, well priced, in my opinion. $100 is expensive for a 10, but compared to what you're getting in other expressions at $100, you're rarely getting 46% for a Scotch. You're rarely getting unchill filtered, natural color, that type of stuff. So yes, you can get it at the LCBO, but I still think that this is a good buy at $100. Obviously, I'd rather buy it from the UK. I'd rather buy it from Alberta if I could still, but I can't. And the US because it's much better priced in those places. But yeah, at least a 90 for me. So my runner-up in that video where I did my top 10-year-old Scotch whiskies was this Glenallachie 10-year-old, 48%. Billy Walker has probably become, if not almost secretly, always was my favorite master blender, master distiller. What he did to the Glendronach line was amazing. And what he's doing to Glenallachie now, for me, is also amazing. He's just super reliable at choosing incredible casks or incredible whiskeys to blend together. He's done an incredible job with the entire range. I did a whole core range video of the Glenallachie, so check that out. I did the Glenallachie rundown, as I call it. Check that out because honestly, there's not too many whiskeys in that from Glenallachie that I wouldn't recommend. And I revisited the Glenallachie 15 recently, and it's phenomenal stuff. It's improved drastically. Yeah, Mark Armstrong saying Kilkerran 12 at SAQ for $85 is fantastic. I think it's similarly priced at the LCBO, if I'm not mistaken, which you're right, is a phenomenal deal for Kilkerran 12. Really, really good price. Peat before port does that work? Well, we're gonna find out. I haven't really tested that theory, but then again, we've had some nights where we're going peat and then we're going to heavy sherry, and we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Right now, the nose is nice on both, so we'll have to get some water in between, maybe. So the Leaf game's on in the background. Leafs are currently losing 3-1. Honestly, the way this season's shaping up doesn't seem like they want to make the playoffs, to be honest with you, but we'll see what's happening. And of course, Go Habs would laugh at that. Although I don't think his team is in much better shape, especially now that Shea Weber is going to be gone for the next 4 weeks. So I have a few reviews coming up. I got to get through a bunch of stuff. I still have to review this beautiful whiskey right here. Actually, I reviewed that one already. I got to review this Springbank 10-year-old local barley, the Kilkerran 15-year-old single cask bourbon cask. Richie Z's in the house. What's going on, buddy? Jeremy's saying the Leafs will make the playoffs. I don't like bold predictions from Jeremy when it comes to the Leafs, because one that haunts me the most is when he guaranteed that the Leafs would win Game 7 against Boston last season, and we all know how that played out. So, Jeremy, please don't guarantee us anything anymore. Well, Toro's in the house. What's going on, buddy? Late for you. He's saying, hi, Rob. Hi, everyone. Just cracked the Ardbeg 10 yesterday, the first one for a while, and it's really a great old friend. Honestly, that's exactly how I feel about it. It's one of those ones you can always rely on. Just great flavors. If you gotta love peat in order to like this, of course. But if you do love peat, I don't think there's too many peat lovers that don't like the Ardbeg 10. It's excellent whiskey. Peter White saying, doesn't everybody make the playoffs in the NHL? 16 teams make the playoffs. There's 31 or 32 teams. 31 teams in the NHL right now. There will be 32 teams eventually. Very soon, actually. Jesse saying, Ardbeg 10 year is a wonderful old friend. Absolutely. Despite only being 10 years. I highly recommend you drink it the way I just did, though. Pour a glass, let it sit for a good half hour, go do something else, come back to it, and then start enjoying it, because you're really going to get everything that whiskey has to offer if you let it sit for a while. I'm going to be nosing in. Well, I'm not going to be marking this because I've already given this a mark. You guys can check that out in my Glenallachie rundown. But I'm going to be tasting it side by side. And the only reason they're side by side is because I do feel that as far as quality goes, they're equal. The reason why the Ardbeg edged out the Glenallachie is because the Ardbeg is available every year, and it's been available for almost ever. Whereas this is a limited edition. I believe there's, I want to say about 20,000 bottles, maybe a little bit less. And it won't be around for that much longer. I hope Billy Walker decides to continue making this, but I don't think he will. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys something. I picked it up yesterday. One of the rare good deals at the LCBO while I'm off camera. I picked this up. So it's the Phenomenology obviously, for those Compass Box fans, you've seen this. You probably watched a review or two about it. I had one dram from it yesterday, and I think my buddy Jasper poured me some a while back, but I never had a chance to actually really enjoy it. I sat with it for a while yesterday. Really, really good stuff. It's $190 something, $195, I think, at the LCBO, which is Canadian, no taxes. That's the price, $195, which globally I think is actually a really good price. So for once, it was on sale, so that's also part of the reason why it was a good price. But for once, the LCBO is probably better than the global average when it comes to that. So Richie Z is saying, Rob, are there variances in Ardbeg 10 bottles, or has it been pretty consistent? I would say it's been pretty consistent. I've yet to try an Ardbeg 10 that I wouldn't recognize as Ardbeg 10, and I've yet to try an Ardbeg 10 that was off-putting or something wrong about it. I think it definitely depends on at which part of the bottle you're getting it at. I think the halfway point for every bottle is the money zone, in my opinion, especially if it's been open a couple months. But yeah, you can't really go wrong as long as you let it air out on your first couple of drams. You're not going to really get a bad dram out of an Ardbeg 10, in my opinion. Welsh Turtle saying a really interesting 10-year peated is the old Ballantroon, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Never seen it before. Speyside peated at 50%. Sounds good to me. Very much mainland smoke, more bonfire smoke than Isla smoke. I like that. That sounds really good. I'll have to check that out, Welsh. Yeah, Sipper Social Club is saying he's noticed variances with Oogie. That's, I think, well documented, actually. Quite a few people feel that older Oogie is like incredible compared to newer Oogie, which is not as heavily sherried and not as good as the older stuff. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Peter, it works, man. You just need one good sip because this is good stuff, man. I'm shocked at how good this is. I need to find another bottle of this Glenalky 10-year-old 48% before it's all gone. He did an awesome job with this port. I don't know how he managed it, but he always seems to do a very good job. Go Habs just poured some Ardbeg 10 himself. Atta boy. I'm gonna let you guys choose my next dram. So it's either the Springbank 15 rum cask or the Phenomenology. You guys tell me what you want me to drink. Yeah, Andrew's saying it's not looking good for the Leafs tonight. Man, it's been such a terrible season, in my opinion. Like, just such high expectations going into this season. I knew that going into the season with Babcock would be a problem, but it's gotten progressively worse. Keefe is a great coach. I think he'll do really well here. I just feel like this season's burnt. I feel like this season's over. I feel like we need to just start over. But 12 minutes is a lot of time for a team that's supposed to be very offensive, so we'll see. So Welsh is asking if I received the Aaron 18. So I tried to place an order from that site that you shared with me, and they wanted to charge 1,000 pounds to ship it to the United States. And when I emailed them to see if that was a mistake, they're like, no, that's what we plan to charge. I was like, okay. So I guess I will not be buying the Aaron 18 from your website. I'm hoping it's coming to Ontario / Canada in general soon. We'll see. I think I might be getting a bottle, but it's going to be sourced through somewhere else probably. So the Oak and Smoke is asking for Compass Box. Timothy's asking for a Compass Box. Nick is asking for Compass Box. Go Habs as well. Looks like everybody wants to hear about the Compass Box. Jason Fisk, Special Aaron 18. Yeah, it's the newer bottling. The newer bottle, Jason, is gorgeous. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it. It kind of reminds me of the Compass Box Tobias and the Angel bottle, if you've seen that. It's like, it reminds me of old school, like wine bottles, like reusable wine bottles that like people would pour their homemade wine. And maybe that's just an Italian thing, but that's what it reminds me of. It's a really cool looking bottle, I think. So yeah, definitely check that out because it's supposed to be amazing. Everybody's raving about it. All right. Phenomenology, 46%. There's some Tamdu in this. There's some Kalila in this. There's some Highland Park in this. A few other distilleries I can't remember off the top of my head. I was shocked when I tried this the other day, or was that yesterday? I'm starting to lose track of days. But that arrow, while I'm finishing up my Glenalky port. Timothy is saying LCBO has its own Aaron 21 single cast strength. 200 Canadian. Yeah, that's a great price. I haven't heard anybody that's tried it yet. I'm very curious as to how it is quality-wise. Of course, I haven't seen it up this way. I got to go downtown to find it, it seems like. But maybe it's worth the 200. It sounds like it would be. Yeah, Wells Toro, honestly, man, I was shocked myself. As soon as they saw that I was trying to ship it to North America, the shipping went from like what you would think like 30 pounds, 25, 30 pounds, whatever it was, to 1,000 pounds. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. So I was like, yeah, I'll have to look elsewhere. The Oak and Smoke is saying, keep it real with the amazing artwork on the bottling. Honestly, like, this is probably the nicest cardboard box I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you. Like, it's gorgeous. If you look at the artwork on it, it's just unbelievable. I would love to have a painting of this, like just an actual painting on my bar of this. That would be pretty cool. And even the bottle itself is just, they're beautiful. Like, the artwork is incredible on these things. Like, look at that. I don't know if, hopefully the focus can capture that a little bit, but there you go. Like, really cool stuff. So whoever's doing these is doing a great job. I'm not a big Compass Box guy. I've never really gotten into all their stuff. I've had a few of their bottlings, but nothing like, I've never really like went out and bought as many as I can find. But everything I've had from them is pretty good. So I haven't tasted it on the live yet, Claire, but I'm about to taste it. I just poured it myself. The nose on this is really good. And to be honest with you, I feel like mine sat on its cork a little bit because I'm getting like a cork wood a little bit on the nose, but still overpowering that cork wood is like strong fruit notes, grape notes, apple notes, like all kinds of really cool fruit notes. So it's still actually really good. Claire, how much did you pay for your phenomenology? I'm curious. Go Habs is saying, don't look back. You won't like the view. I know it's 3-1, man. I understand. The Leafs are losing. You take great pleasure in this. Like, my two brothers that are Habs fans as well. I figure that one out. We live in the Greater Toronto area, and I have two of my three brothers are Habs fans. One is a Buffalo Sabres fan, and I'm the only Toronto fan. So figure that one out. Yeah, so Claire paid 160 US dollars, which is actually technically with the conversion a little bit more than what I paid on these at the LCBO. So if you haven't, guys, head out to the LCBO in Brampton, Orion's Gate, because there's still 4 bottles left of the Phenomenology, and I think it's a great price at $195. So Mark is saying, did you try the Ardbeg Supernova? It's gonna be at Halifax Whiskey Show and 180 in a few weeks. That's a great price. I have not tried the new one, no, but thank you for that information. I really appreciate it. Apparently 3 of my brothers were dropped on their head. Go Habs, but thanks for your concern. This is really good stuff, guys. Honestly, I highly recommend it. I don't know. Let me just quickly double check how many bottles of this there are. I don't think there's that many, to be honest with you. Let's see. Do my quick whiskey-based search. Bronco Rog is saying, I'm with you, Rob. My brother and dad are Cowboys fans. I'm a Broncos fan. Yeah. It's always a little bit awkward when siblings like different teams. Like my son he's 4 years old. So like he's right around the age where he's starting to love hockey. And he loves the Leafs because, his dad loves the Leafs and we're from Toronto and all these things. But he adores his cousins. My oldest brother my older brother has 3 children, and my youngest brother has 2, and they're all Habs fans. And it's an awkward gathering when they're all wearing Habs jerseys, and he's the only one wearing a Leaf jersey. So. Go Habs is saying he dropped his son. No joke. Is your son a Leaf fan? Is that why you're saying that? James Chen is saying, was at Summerhill yesterday and they have the Phenomenology as well. Was the Phenomenology on sale at the Summerhill location as well? Because I know that sometimes it's just exclusive to various locations. Mick is saying, I tried the new Supernova at a December tasting. I enjoyed the grooves more. Certainly not worth the price if you're planning on actually drinking it. Yeah. Damn, that's not cool. Go Habs is saying my dad is a Bruins fan. I heard that's pretty common in Montreal, actually, that a lot of people from Montreal became Bruins fans in, I want to say, like the 70s because of the climate, like the racial climate at the time. A lot of Europeans were not treated well, I guess you could say, at the time. Maybe it was a little earlier than the 70s. Jason Fisk is saying, hope to try that new Compass Box Glasgow Marion cask that KWM just got. I didn't even know they got one for themselves, but that's pretty cool. Jason, have you tried the new Teeling from KWM? I'm very curious about that 16-year-old Teeling single cask. It sounds awesome. Yeah, Timothy, we had just talked about the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. $70 is such a good price. 64.5%. I'm shocked that Ontario got it for that cheap, to be honest with you. Westero saying, I live in England, and the thought of any potential son supporting England not Wales in the rugby fills me with horror. Yeah. Um, yeah, I could see how that would really piss you off. James is saying, where was it on sale? Orion's Gate, Brampton. That's where this is on sale for $195. I bought 2 of them. That's just my way usually. So, like I said, this might be a bit corked. I noticed that the cork smelt a bit woody when I popped it. So I think it was sitting on its side for a while because this is a super wet cork. And it's been standing up for at least 38 hours or 36 hours or whatever it's been, not quite 48 hours. So I'm not sure if this was sitting on its cork for too long, but it's not corked to like, it doesn't smell bad by any means. It still smells very fruity. It just, you could tell there's like a cork wood like smell in the background. Go have saying, I think the new immigrants fell in love with Bobby Orr. That's true too, actually. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Trying to find I think this is 2019. Was it? This was bottled in 2019. I'm almost certain. So that's probably where I should start. Yeah. All right. So there are, no, it doesn't say how many bottles of this there are. It just says port cask finish of this. Apparently there's only 7,900 bottles of this, which I found pretty surprising. Yeah, so many fruits. Like it's hard to identify on the nose for the compass box. Jason Fish said, I did, yes. It's pretty decent, fruity and bright. The new Irish rum cask looks great too. That one I didn't see. How old is the Irish rum cask? What is Hazelburn 12 like? That one I haven't tried. I've tried Hazelburn 10. I've tried Hazelburn 13, Hazelburn 14. Never tried Hazelburn 12. It never came this way. Or if it did, it came a while ago. Stephen Owens is saying, keep an eye out on Balcones French Oak single malt cask strength. It's spectacular. Hearing a lot of rumblings about it. Honestly, I tried to get one of those not that long ago, probably about 3 months ago. It seems like it's hard to come by and it's pretty expensive. So I kind of just gave up. Well, Star saying it shouldn't do anything to the whiskey. I said before that I only sampled a bad gone wrong whiskey once and it was undrinkable. Yeah. I wonder. I don't know. I wonder what causes whiskeys to kind of not taste like, I don't know, that gives that like ammonia taste because I'm not getting any of that here. It usually only happens with sherry casks. So not sure. Sipper Social Club, Jeremy saying, heading to a late soccer game. Maybe I'll pour a dram for every goal I let in tonight. Probably be sober for a while. Yeah, he's apparently a very good goalie, but I haven't seen him in action. Thank you very much for the super chat, Jeremy. Appreciate it, buddy. The Oak and Smoke whiskey has just moved to Booker's. Moved on the Booker's County Ham Great Pour. Sounds interesting. Matthew says, "Hey Rob, Matt from Saskatchewan. What source do you use to find out how many bottles are released whiskey base?" Yeah, I usually use whiskey base. It just seems to be the most accurate as far as like the number of bottles. Don't look now, go Habs, but it's 3-2 with a minute left. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think Whiskey Base is the one to go to. There are some reviewers that will share the information, but a quick search from Whiskey Base should usually give you what you need, from my experience. Um, Stephen Owens is saying the Balcones French Oak is a limited release and about $70 in Texas. Well, Stephen Owens, if you can get me a bottle of that, I have an American address that I would love to share with you, and I would send you the money ASAP. Yeah, the French Oak has been out for a while now, but I've never tried it. It keeps eluding me. Actually, Texas whiskey as a whole, I've only ever tried once or twice. It seems to not come up this way for me. I don't know why. Jason, does Alberta get a lot of Texas whiskey? I don't remember seeing too much. The Oak and Smoke says, damn, Jeremy just 666 you. Yeah, he usually does that. That's kind of his thing. Honestly, the nose and taste on this phenomenology is pretty much what the name says. It's awesome stuff, man. I've only seen Garrison Brothers in Calgary. Yeah, I've actually, you're right. I've seen Garrison Brothers, but apparently it's not that good. Jason Fisk is headed to Texas on Saturday. Very cool. Yeah, sure. We'll talk after, Steven. We'll chat. The Oak and Smoke is saying, great live, Rob. Keep up the great work, my friend. Thank you very much for the super chat, buddy. Really appreciate it. I actually have a whiskey bell that I keep forgetting to use. It's actually on the shelf over here beside me, but I appreciate it. Probably better not to ring the bell. The kids are sleeping, and the wife is teaching a fitness class at the moment, so she wouldn't even be able to go get them. Then I would have to cut this short. Killer Jolt says, my understanding is that it is good, but it's overpriced. Honestly, I've only ever heard really good things about the French Oak Balcones. So, Welsh Toro says, I think most Texas whiskeys stay in the States. Yeah, I think you're right for the most part. They're not in Canada, that's for sure. Like Garrison Brothers we talked about earlier, but that's about it. Although I see a couple Texas whiskeys on Roy's shelf whenever he goes live. So he's managed to get a couple. We're about 47 minutes in. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Feels like the Leafs are about to lose anyway, so not much incentive to watch the rest of this game. I can kind of watch it in the corner of my screen over here anyway. 30 so seconds left, and Dallas has cleared the puck, but it's an icing. Mark is saying Compass Box Peat Monster is great bang for your buck. What is, and then it stops. Oh, what? The Oak and Smoke is saying Harbinger is outstanding. Iron Root is doing it. Yeah, you know what? I think that's the one that I tried to get when there was the Whiskey Vault convention. I was invited to that, but I couldn't go. A few of my friends were there, and I was hoping that they would be able to bring me back a bottle, but everybody was so strapped for space when it came to whiskey that none of them were able to grab me one. But maybe next time. Well, Toro's saying it stays in Texas. I've got some rare Balcones by complete luck, but we pay way more for it in the UK. Yeah, I've heard that. Jason Fisk says, how do you feel, Rob, after your hiatus? Honestly, I was expecting, so I guess it's a good sign that I didn't feel anything different. I felt exactly the same. I was dry for just over 4 weeks. So whatever, I guess a lunar month or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I didn't feel anything different. I didn't feel more energetic. I didn't feel less drowsy or whatever else you want to say. So I guess I don't have an alcohol problem. I usually do my dry 3 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week. So I guess that helped as well. But I don't feel anything different. I didn't at the time either. Claire the Third says, means you shouldn't do it again if it doesn't do anything. I completely agree. I doubt I will ever do a full month ever again. Maybe next year I'll do a week, but I'm definitely not doing a month. 1 month is too long. Wine Light Media says, hey Rob, how does Ardbeg 10 compare to Lagavulin 8? That's a great question, actually. Lagavulin 8 is excellent whiskey for the price. It's in the 80s. I like the ABV on it. I still think I like the Ardbeg 10 a touch better, but that's a good comparison, actually. I think maybe I should do a head-to-head on those two because that would be interesting. That would be an interesting comparison. Yeah, Eric Waite. Hey, how's it going, by the way? Giving up alcohol is easy. Giving up coffee is suicidal. I've had withdrawal symptoms from giving up coffee to the point where like I had such a bad migraine that I like actually vomited. Where when I gave up whiskey, it was like nothing. Like I didn't even feel it. It was like a non-issue. But giving up coffee was way worse for me. I did that for a month as well, way back. I think it was probably in about 2012 that I did that. Never gonna give up coffee again, that's for sure. Missed a bunch of stuff here. There we go. So Welsh Toro is saying, I think the Ardbeg 10 is much better and cheaper. See, that's funny because in Ontario, the Lagavulin 8 is cheaper, but much better, Welsh Toro says, and I trust his opinion. So I'm going to go with what Welsh Toro says. Mark Saliba's in the house. What's going on, buddy? He says, if I could only have one, I'd choose coffee all day. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think I can live without coffee. It would be tough. I prefer the taste of whiskey, but I need coffee. I need coffee in my life. Richard is saying go Stars and drops a $20 super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat. Leafs suck. I don't know what's the problem. What their problem is. They should be way better than what they are. But I appreciate the super chat, Richard. Thank you very much, buddy. Go Habs is saying what's next. No, that's like there's like a weekly quota for that cannot be missed. My wife's under a lot of pressure if that's missed weekly. I hope my parents are not watching right now. Peter White saying having a pour of Dave Keon tonight, one of the better $44 bottles of whiskey he's ever tried. That's very cool. I want to have a little taste of that. Today I got a Canadian Club 42-year-old. It sat on my porch for like a good, I want to say 5-6 hours because I was at work and it was frozen, but not literally frozen, but too cold because it's like -7 today, which is ridiculous. It's so cold in this country. But way more with the wind. Anyway, it was too cold to drink tonight, so I figured I'd wait till tomorrow to give it a shot. Westro saying, how about orange juice? I can't live without it. Honestly, I used to love orange juice, but I think I might be allergic to oranges a little bit because it ruins my whiskey tasting because I get blisters. I get like cankers on my tongue whenever I have any type of like orange or tangerine. Mark said Leafs should have started Campbell tonight. Honestly, I didn't even get to watch the game that much. Most of the time was spent putting my kids to sleep. So, and then the rest was here. When I noticed they were losing, I was like, okay, forget it. I'm just going live. Wine Light Media is saying, moving on to whiskey now. Just finished Innocent Gun. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, buddy. Which Innocent Gun were you drinking? I actually really like Innocent Gun. Timothy saying, best age plus ABV of the alumni series, maybe by 2. So he's saying, I guess the Keon is the best age / ABV. What is the ABV on the Keon? Because most of them are low ABV, like 42, 41, that sort of thing, 40. Eric Waite saying, I just bought a bottle of Ardbeg Galileo for $200. It arrives on Monday. I think that's a steal, Eric. Well done. Good job. The Oak and Smoke is saying mouthfeel can make or break a whiskey, in my opinion. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah, so Keon is the best, basically, of the alumni series. Brian Page is saying, I just shoveled some snow. Looks like they lost. I enjoy Innocent Gun too. Yeah, it's good stuff. Oh, it's 14 years old and 45%. Interesting. I didn't know that about the Keon. Maybe I'll check. Maybe I'll grab a bottle for that price. That's a great price for a 14-year-old, 45%. Honestly, like that's the thing about Canadian whiskey. Like people dump on Canadian whiskey, but you cannot beat the prices of Canadian whiskey. It's like for what you're getting, like even this bottle over here, like I said, I haven't tried it yet. It's 42 years old. It's a Canadian club. I think it's $300. But like, where are you gonna get a $300 whiskey for? Or sorry, a 42-year-old whiskey for $300 Canadian? It's like 170 pounds. It's like $190. No, it's like $210 American for a 42-year-old whiskey. It's tough to come by. Timothy is saying that the Lafleur is still a gem, and Peter is saying Wendell Clark still may be the best. Interesting. Coffee is 47%. And that's Paul Coffey for those non-hockey fans listening to this conversation. Oh, there was a comment deleted. I missed it. I didn't see what it was. So really good stuff. Is it worth $200? Not when you can get these two for $100, in my opinion. I'm gonna go at this Glenalchie 10 one more time just before we sign off. Just a little bit. The Oak and Smoke is saying a 42-year-old Macallan would cost $700,000. Yeah, probably. Timothy is saying there is Alberta Premium cash strength 65% for $65 Canadian back on the shelves now. That's at the LCBO. It was cheaper in Alberta, but I love that stuff. I think it's great stuff, in my opinion. Welsh Toro saying, would love to have more Canadian, but we only get 40% stuff over here. Yeah. Welsh, if you can get a bottle of Alberta Premium cash strength, honestly, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic stuff, in my opinion. It's a 100% rye, as Timothy is saying right there. Rich Easy saying, I got a bottle of Glenalchie 10 last week. It's feisty but awesome. It should settle down very well with airtime. Yeah, honestly, I really like it. I like that little fight you get from it. I like the heat. Which 10? Did you get the cask strength or did you get the port cask, the one that I have here? Peter White saying dissertation was at the Whiskey Exchange for 43 pounds. That's a good one. I think we got it a little cheaper than that though. I think we were getting it for like $70, $65. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 90. Could have sworn it was cheaper though. Yeah, and that's discontinued. Jason Fisk just said so. It's a good buy. If you can find it, it's a good whiskey too. All right, I think it's time to wrap it up. What do you guys think? What are you guys drinking right now? Everybody still have a dram in their hand? Yeah, 65 at the LCBO was the dissertation. Yeah, that was a great price. I missed something. I think Brad's in the house. I missed that. I didn't see him. Oh, wine light. Timothy's saying I'm saving to get Craggamore 12-year cask strength peated, maybe like the old Rosebank. That would be interesting. There's a whole bunch of Diageo stuff that I really want to get, like all those the Cardew cask strength, which is I think 14 years old, the Lagavulin, the Pity, whatever, I forget what it's called, but all those ones look awesome. JG is drinking Ugadal and Deanston 12. So Deanston 12 is $100 at the LCBO, and I was debating whether or not I should get it, but $100 seems a little bit expensive for something I've never tasted before. And I know I just kind of said that this is worth $100, but for me, this was tried, tested, and true. The Deanston 12, I don't know. I feel like it might be a little bit of a gamble at $100. Maybe you guys can steer me, tell me otherwise. Bowmore 12 cask strength Tempest, very nice. Old Ballon Truin, I'm butchering that tonight. 10-year-old. Eric Wade saying I was drinking a Texas bourbon from Crowded Barrel. The Oak and Smoke is saying Country Ham still. Booker's very nice. Welsh Toro is saying I got the Talisker 15. I like it, but I think it's overpriced. Yeah, I mean it's Diageo. Most of those ones are overpriced. I do like the fact that it's cask strength. I do like that it's age stated. I like that whiskey, to be honest with you. I think that 15-year-old is really, really nice stuff. James Chen is drinking Yushin blended malt. Welsh Toro saying that he got a great store pick Whistle Pig that is Canadian juice. I think most of them were from Alberta, but not all of them. I think the newer ones are starting to be American. Peter White saying my Scotch buying days at the LCBO are over. Yeah, it's tough to buy Scotch at the LCBO. It's very expensive. Mark is drinking Brook-Laddie 10-year Port Charlotte. The Port Charlotte 10-year-old is phenomenal. I love it. Andrew's drinking Legent. That's one I think I tasted a sample of, but couldn't bring myself to buy a bottle. What do you think, Andrew? Is it worth it? Aaron is saying Deanston 12 is excellent. Got me started on the Deanstons and has quickly become one of my favorite distilleries. Yeah, I really like Deanston. I really like the 18-year-old. Love the Virgin Oak. The Bordeaux cask that came out a couple years ago was really, really good. I have a brandy cask upstairs. I don't know. I can't bring myself to buy that 12-year-old for whatever reason. Clear Third saying he's not a fan of the Legent. Tastes like wine. JB is drinking Aberfeldy 12, light and sweet. Honestly, I actually didn't mind. I had my only beef with the Aberfeldy 12 is that it's 40%, but I didn't mind that pour of it. I thought it was pretty decent. JG is saying $65 US for the Deanston here. Yeah, $100 Canadian sounds steep. It is a bit steep, I think, especially knowing what I could get it for in other provinces. I think that's what bothers me, especially because that's not available to me anymore. Timothy's saying Toronto Maple Laughs, go Habs. Man, there are so many Habs fans in Toronto. It's crazy. Wells Toro saying, I really think the insane price of whiskey has reached a point that it is going to change our whiskey choices and habits. I agree. I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that there's a lot of anxiety around getting certain expressions from distilleries. Springbank gives me the most anxiety, to be honest with you, because they come up with something new all the time, and then like the need to try it is like absurd. I stress about it far too much. I'm very concerned about what's happening with Springbank. As you can tell in my last video, overrated and overpriced. Peter White saying, yeah, we got the Deanston 10-year-old cask strength for 78 and the Bordeaux cask for 98. Yeah, phenomenal prices for those. And then you got the 12-year-old, which is 46.2 or whatever they bottle at, 400. It didn't really make sense. I don't understand that. And I know that ABV plays a factor in the way the LCBO prices, so I'm not sure where they got that price for the 12-year-old. There's a message retracted. Joseph is saying, I'm drinking Ugidal. So good, this stuff, I think you meant. But I still prefer Lagavulin 16. What do you prefer? That's a good question. I haven't had the Ugi in a long time. Can I go with something different and just say the Corey? I prefer the Corey to both of those. They're not, I mean, I guess those two are priced the same at the LCBO for the most part. If I had to choose, I think the easier drinker of the two would be the Lagavulin 16, just because it's an easy drinking dram. Most of the bottles are 12 years old. I missed that conversation. Go Habs. Not sure what you're talking about. Love the Oogie, but still prefer the Lagavulin 16, says JG. Silver Lock Whiskey Club is drinking Booker's Kitchen Table. A lot of Bookers tonight. Who was able to get a bottle of this? Are there a lot of Compass Box fans in the chat? Less than 8,000 bottles, but it seems like pretty much anybody that wanted a bottle pretty much got a bottle. Didn't seem like it was that hard to get, too hard to come by. Wine Light is drinking Japanese whiskey for the first time. Mark is saying, got a bottle of Oban 14 for 30 Great British Pounds at Christmas in UK Great Whiskey. Yeah, you know what? It's not bad, especially at that price. That's a steal. That's dirt cheap. That's like about 52, 53 bucks Canadian. I think it's double that in Ontario at least. Donner Pass is back. What's going on, buddy? I'm going to stay on for maybe 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to sign out. James Chen said, called to reserve 2 Phenomenology. Going to pick it up tomorrow. Yeah, it's a great price. And at the LCBO, it's the regular price, I think, is like $285 or $280. It was like, I think it was like $90 off or something like that. Could be off a couple bucks, but in and around that. 100% Mustard is saying Balvenie 14-year-old 2003 Peat Week. Awesome. I'm getting a bottle of that soon. I don't know if it's the 2003, but I'm getting the newest bottle of the Peat Week, the 14-year-old, and I'm very excited about it. Can't wait to try it, actually. Peter White's, is he talking about the Wiser's 23 saying limited release, like 3,600 bottles worldwide? I'm not sure what he's talking about, though. 3,600 bottles. Timothy says, Compass, I will stick to my Oak and Cross. I think that's the like one of the standard releases, which is pretty reasonably priced, in my opinion. Peter White said no. So what are you talking about then? Welsh Deanston stuff. Oh, okay. I see. Welsh is saying Christmas is good for some whiskey prices in the UK. I got Lefroy quarter cask for £28 and Bunnahabhain 12 for £30. Yeah, those are great prices. Ben Demon Hunter, what's going on, buddy? He's saying Deanston Bordeaux is the topic. Okay, my bad. Makes more sense. Phenomenology is good. I think this one needs to open up a little bit more and it'll be even better. But this one is in its money zone, so I'm going to continue with this jam over here and leave the Phenomenology for a little while. Having a little conversation with James on the side over here as well. He was hunting down some bottles of Phenomenology. Claire the Third says money zone. I love saying money zone. That's like one of my favorite whiskey terms. 100% Mustard is saying haven't had the new Peat Week, but the 2003 was better than the 2002. Check STD's review of the 2003 Peat Week. Will do. Brian Page says I'm headed out. Good talking to you. Take care, buddy. Nice seeing you. 100% Mustard is saying love Ardbeg, especially the Corey. Yeah, the Corey is awesome. I like it. Wildlife saying I've tried quite a lot of peated scotches, but I always come back to Lag. Kilhoman is nice, but it's always way overpriced. I guess I have to try Ardbeg. Yeah, if you like peated scotch, you have to try Ardbeg at least once in your life. It has to happen. Mark is saying, I don't know that Selfridges had PC 10 for 25 Great British Pounds. Wow. 25 Great British Pounds is dirt cheap. I think I want a bottle of the Glenallachie 10 on the table. Yeah, this is good stuff, man. Honestly, Portwood finish. Billy Walker, man. I don't know. I look on Whiskey Base and every single one of the Glenallachies are really underrated, in my opinion. Like they're all low scores, and I feel like maybe Billy doesn't have a lot of friends in Scotland or something. I mean, maybe a lot of people dislike him. I don't know what the truth behind that is, but I feel like he's being poorly represented because I haven't had a bad Glenallachie. I actually really like all the Glenallichies that I've had, so I don't know why he's getting ripped so hard on whiskey base. Maybe Welsh would know a little better than I do. Matthew saying, peace out from Sasky. Cheers. Cheers, buddy. Bread Bagel, the Deanston Bordeaux, the heat on that bottle never dissipated. Honestly, you need water. Any cask strength for the most part needs water, but that one needs some water. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was excellent whiskey. Balvenie Peat Week looks good out of price range. Yeah, it's expensive. The new bottle is expensive too. I think it's like $220 at the LCBO, maybe a little bit less, but it's expensive. Timothy saying, great show. Many thanks, fellow Sixer. Peace. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Ben Demon Hunter saying, Corey sounds wonderful sometime. Yeah, honestly, that's the one you want to go with. Ardbeg 10 is fantastic value on everyday dram. Nick. Yeah, I agree, buddy. 100% pure mustard. Can't wait to open Kilkerran heavily peated batch 1. Honestly, I tried. Jasper brought by a heavily peated recently, and I tried it. And honestly, for the price, I would take that over an Octomore any day. Like, it's just absurd how well priced it is compared to the Octomores, and like very similar experience. Very similar experience. Peter White saying water? Question mark. The Oak and Smoke is saying, cheers. Take care, buddy. Donna Pass saying, love the Deanston Bordeaux. Have 2 stashed. That was good whiskey. Very good whiskey. David Cole, it's funny how whiskey can taste different depending on what you were drinking. I was drinking JDBP and switched to Lefroy 10 tonight. It tasted like water. Yeah, honestly, Lefroy 10, unless you're talking about the cask strength, usually tastes like water, in my opinion. The cask strength of Lefroy 10 is phenomenal, though. Like, the viscosity is bonkers on that stuff. I think it's excellent cask strength whiskey. Ostoro saying, I don't know. I've always liked that Billy Walker, liked what Billy Walker has done. It seems to me that the distillery is more likely to go downhill when he departs and improves when he joins. Absolutely. I honestly, what he did to Glendronach, Ben Riach, and Glenglossa, and then what he's doing now to Glenallachie, just absurd. I think he's doing incredible stuff. I'm very curious to try the 25-year-old for myself, because reading reviews on Whiskey Base, I don't feel confident that they're giving him a fair shake, and I don't know why, because they didn't on any of these. They give this like a 84. The 12PX was like an 85 or 84, something like that. Ben Demon Hunter saying, a friend of mine who's been drinking for decades, older than me, has never had a peated Scotch. The Ugadal would be better to give him than Ardbeg 10, yes? Or just don't start with Ardbeg. Yeah, I wouldn't start with Ardbeg if you're going to give him a peated Scotch. Go something like Highland Park first, then move to maybe, I think you're better off with the Ardbeg 10 than the Ugadal. So the way I see it is, do a peated bourbon cask first if you're going to start with some peat, because if you go peated sherry cask, you're getting like all that peat flavor and the dirtiness that like a sherry would bring to that. Like, it gets a little dirtier when you add sherry to a peated whiskey. So I would say go bourbon cask first, then go sherry cask peat, in my opinion. If that makes sense. I think it makes sense. "100% pure mustard" is saying, Rob, had my first Clase Azul tequila about 5 or 6 years ago. Well worth $95. Honestly, I love that stuff. I think it's awesome. It doesn't follow rules, apparently. I don't know much about that stuff when it comes to the tequila world, but I really like Clase Azul. Jason Fisk in the house. What's up, buddy? He's saying, might grab that KK Peated tonight. Sale ends. Yeah. Get that heavily peated. It's good stuff, man. All right. While Stero's taking off, he's saying, I better hit the sack. I have to swim 70 lengths in 5 hours. Yikes. Cheers. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by. Richard's come back. What's going on, man? Or did he not leave before? I thought he left, but he's back. He's saying bleh. What is he talking about? Richard, what are you blehing about? I've commented before getting Ardbeg 10 for a gift next month. Thanks, Rob. All right. Yeah, I think that should be okay. Kalila 12 is a good intro whiskey into peat. Yeah, I think that's true, Silverlock. Donna Pass is saying, did you get Kilkerran 8 sherry cask? I have 2 bottles sitting at Jasper's house. I have about, honestly, 15 bottles right now sitting at Jasper's house. So I'm waiting to meet up with Jasper because he has a lot of my stuff right now. Jason Fisk is saying shop in Calgary. Unfortunately, Jason, that is no longer an option to shop in Alberta. They have shut it down for Ontarians. JG is saying, thanks, Rob. Stay warm. Appreciate that, buddy. It's pretty cold out this way. I don't know where you're from, but pretty much anywhere is better than here at the moment. Well, probably not, but that's what it feels like. Graham Young says that Glenallachie 10 cash strength is quite nice stuff. This is not the cash strength. This is the port 48%. I haven't tried the cash strength yet. My neighbor has the cash strength. We plan on comparing the two, so that'll happen very shortly. All right. Went way over what I expected to go. I thought I was only going to go a half hour today. If you're still here, thank you guys very much for sticking around, watching me rant about whiskey for a little while. Appreciate all of you. I gave the Ardbeg 10 a 90. I think it's well worth it. $100 in Ontario. I would buy it at that price, but if I could, I'd source it elsewhere because it's way better priced in the United States and in other provinces. Guys, really appreciate every single one of you. Have a good night. Cheers.